Imagine falling asleep in the middle of nowhere. No walls, no locked door, no sound but wind and the occasional rustle of something moving just beyond the tree line. And yet, by morning, you wake up untouched. For most of human history, this wasn't a hypothetical, it was daily life. Our ancestors slept in open camps, in shallow caves, in the grass beside rivers where lions drank. No fences, no weapons that could stop a determined predator. Just soft, unconscious bodies lying still in the dark, in a world full of animals that could kill them in seconds. So why didn't they? It's tempting to imagine some kind of ancient truce between humans and wild animals. A quiet respect. But the real answer is stranger, and far more revealing about how the animal mind actually works. Most wild animals are not looking for a fight. They're looking to survive the day without becoming a mistake. And a sleeping human, lying motionless on the ground, doesn't look like food. It looks like a question mark. Here's the thing predators fear most: the unknown. Not danger itself, but uncertainty about danger. A gazelle a lion has hunted 1,000 times is predictable. Its movements, its escape patterns, its weaknesses are all known. But a human? Even now, after tens of thousands of years living alongside large predators, most wild animals still don't know quite what to make of us. We don't move like prey. We don't smell like anything they've evolved a fixed response to. We're upright, unfamiliar in silhouette, and our scent carries traces of smoke, of tools, of other animals, of 100 things a wild nose has never fully cataloged. To a predator's brain, that unpredictability isn't an invitation. It's a warning light. This caution has a name in behavioral science: neophobia, the instinctive avoidance of anything new or unrecognized. It's one of the most powerful survival tools an animal has, because in the wild, curiosity is expensive. Approach the wrong, unfamiliar thing, and you don't get a second try. And a sleeping human is unfamiliar in a very specific way. Stillness to most predators doesn't mean vulnerability. It means something else entirely. It might mean death, disease, or a trap. Many animals are hardwired to be wary of anything that looks sick or dead because carcasses can carry parasites, bacteria, and threats that aren't worth the risk for an easy meal. A body that isn't moving, isn't reacting, isn't behaving like anything they've learned to hunt, doesn't register as opportunity. It registers as unknown mass, approach with caution, or not at all. But stillness isn't the whole story, because you're not actually still. Not really. Even in deep sleep, your body is broadcasting signals every second. Your chest rises and falls. Your heart beats audibly to a nose sensitive enough to detect it. Your skin releases a faint, constant plume of scent shaped by your breath, your sweat, and your body heat. To an animal that reads the world primarily through smell, a sleeping human doesn't look inert at all. It smells alive, warm, breathing, and crucially, unpredictable in a way a corpse never would. This is where a concept ecologists call the landscape of fear comes in. It's the idea that animals don't just navigate physical terrain, they navigate emotional terrain, constantly weighing risk against reward in every square meter of ground they cross. And in that mental landscape, humans occupy a strange, looming category. Even top predators, animals with almost nothing left in the wild that can kill them, still treat humans with more caution than prey twice their size. Studies tracking large carnivores have found something almost paradoxical. Many species alter their behavior more dramatically around the mere sound of a human voice than around the roar of a rival predator. Fear of humans, it turns out, can outweigh fear of natural enemies. We are, ecologically speaking, treated like something apex predators are apex afraid of. So when a wild animal encounters a sleeping human in the open, the calculation isn't "here is easy food." It's closer to "here is something large, unfamiliar, faintly alive, and possibly connected to the very thing that has hunted my kind for generations." And for most animals, most of the time, that's a calculation that ends in retreat, not attack. But here's where the story gets more complicated and more honest, because it isn't actually true that wild animals never touch sleeping humans. It's true far more often than not, but the exceptions are real, and they reveal exactly why the rule exists in the first place. In certain regions where tigers and humans have shared the same dense forest for centuries, there are documented cases of tigers approaching and even attacking people resting or sleeping in exposed areas. In some cases, researchers believe repeated exposure eroded the animal's natural caution, a process called habituation, where an unfamiliar thing encountered again and again without consequence slowly stops feeling dangerous. Fear, it turns out, isn't fixed. It's learned, and it can be unlearned. There are also rare, well-documented instances of bears investigating tents, drawn not by the sleeping person inside, but by food odors seeping through the fabric. An accidental invitation that had nothing to do with the human body itself and everything to do with what was stored near it. And then there's desperation. An old, injured, or starving predator, one that can no longer safely take down its usual prey, sometimes abandons caution altogether. When the normal cost-benefit calculation breaks down, when survival outweighs fear, even the deepest instinct to avoid humans can be overridden. So the truth isn't that wild animals have some mystical respect for sleeping humans. It's something colder, and in a way, more remarkable. For hundreds of thousands of years, every human who did something careless around a predator, who smelled like easy prey, who acted in a way an animal's ancient instincts recognized as safe to attack, simply didn't survive to raise children. And every animal that learned caution around this strange, upright species, one capable of throwing spears, building fire, and hunting in coordinated groups, passed that caution on to its own offspring. In other words, the peace we experience while sleeping in the wild isn't peace at all. It's the accumulated result of an evolutionary standoff, thousands of generations deep on both sides. Which means every quiet, undisturbed night's sleep our ancestors ever had in the open wasn't luck. It was the echo of every human before them who taught the natural world, often at great cost, that we were not worth the risk. And that's the strange truth hiding underneath a question that feels almost like folklore. It was never about animals being gentle or forests being safe. It was about fear, ancient, mutual, and precisely calibrated, quietly keeping two species apart in the dark long enough for one of them to wake up again.